Okay. Good evening, everybody. We are officially kicked off for I guess it's the end of January, almost February now. January TeamFITspiration Team Zoom, and I'm so excited to have Colleen Curtice here as our guest speaker tonight. She's been on a team call before. I think it's been like a year now, and she blew my mind the last time we had her speak. And she just posted in our 5-star leadership group the other day that she has this new topic and she loves speaking and she's so good at it. It just shows that that's one of her passions. But she has this new topic that she wants to share. And I was like, sign me up. So she was gracious enough to get us on her calendar really quickly. So I'm so excited to have her here. And I'm sure that we'll have time for questions at the end. If you guys do have questions, there's a chat box down at the bottom, so you can open that up and leave questions and we can kind of tackle those later on. But I'm not going to take up too much time talking. I will say that Team Cup is coming up in February, so make sure you have a team all set for your Team Cup. If you have questions about that, if you're newer, talk to your upline coach and we can get you all situated with the team. It's always a good time, a really good way to kick off your business or reignite your business or just like get some energy back into your business in general. So Team Cup is super fun if you guys haven't been a part of one yet. And if you have, then you know how great it is. So make sure you're on a Team Cup team. And I think that's probably about it. So as far as Colleen, our special guest, we met, I think we have been Facebook friends for a while, but I think we officially met in Cancun, maybe, Colleen? So Colleen is a 2-time elite coach. I'm reading so I don't leave anything off. 2-time elite coach. She's a 7-star diamond coach. She finished the year at 135 in the company, which is incredible, out of 400,000 coaches. And she's an organization leader on the leadership ladder. So, and I asked her when she signed up as a coach. She signed up in July of 2013. So it kind of puts it into perspective what's possible in just a few years in the business, some really, really big things. And she's going to talk about just that, going from coach to CEO and really flipping that switch in your business. So Colleen, I'm going to hand it over to you, girl.
Aw, thank you. It's crazy as I was hopping on, the Zoom link and chatting with Stephanie about my accolades. I started to get like a little emotional, and I am either like, I only cry when I'm mad. So when I start to feel myself get emotional, I'm like, what's going on? And I just kind of had this moment where it's crazy to me that I'm starting this new series on mastering your life and becoming the CEO to people, because if you guys really knew like my hot mess life 3.5, 4 years ago, I'll share a little bit of it today, but I want to focus more on giving you guys the goodies. It's just like a real big full circle moment. And this is the first call that I'm kicking off for the network. So I'm like, I almost feel nervous right now, which is like, I public speak all the time, but this is my favorite thing to share with people. Because you might not believe it, but I know what it's like to be sitting in your kitchen or sitting in your office and just being like, what am I doing? This is so hard. I don't really know if I'm made for this, or I'm trying so hard, the results aren't coming, because we have big wants and big dreams, right? And sometimes the pressure can get to us. And it's crazy because I think back to those feelings I used to have as like a wee, tiny little new coach. And I'm here now, like, obsessed with teaching people how to become masters of their life. So I just wanted to get that off my chest because that's how I was feeling. But a little bit about me. So 31 years old, I live in Lake Tahoe, California. I'm originally from 3,000 miles away in Boston, Mass. So I don't want to spend too much time on my story, so I'm going to zip through it. But the way I was raised was just like in this really traditional, awesome, loving family where you go to school, you get good grades, you get a job, and then you get this beautiful resume. You keep building the resume, married, kids, home, get old. That was it was kind of just like this bullet point life. And then I've always been a wild child at heart. So I made the decision at the age of 24 to move out to California where I live now. And it's crazy that for 24 years of my life, I was living one whole different perspective. And now I'm out here living a completely different perspective. And that's, I think, where a lot of my ideas come from as far as perspective on life and perspective on this business, because I've lived, it feels like, 2 different lives, and I've been able to take control of my life after losing a corporate job in a very unfair manner. I was someone who gave my all to corporate world for 6 years right out of college. I came into work one day, and this terrible boss that I had, who was making my life already a living hell every day. I had stomach ulcers, depression, $20,000 of credit card debt, because retail therapy was my best friend. I was a real hot mess, and I come into work one day and I found out I lost my corporate job. In that moment, I remember the defining moment in my car of the feeling of someone taking something away from me. And I said, I will never give someone the opportunity to do that to me again. I wanted to make my own schedule. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to, be able to be in control of my own title. Not that the title matters, but, on my resume, that's what I felt like mattered. And that's when I made the decision I'll never go back to that environment. Elizabeth Hartkey is my upline. For those of you, I'm sure you know of Elizabeth. If not, you need to follow her. She's amazing. She's another superstar diamond. I went to high school with her, and I was like, wait, I know this girl. She does like this Facebook workout stuff. Beachbody. Oh, everyone knows Beachbody. That's a legit company, right? And I honestly signed up and became a CEO on day one, strictly out of fear, because I didn't want to go back to my toxic environment. So I had to learn fast. I didn't have a choice, back up against the wall, debt. I wasn't going back to that old job. So I was like, I got to learn this fast. So I became a student in the beginning of personal growth. And I always tell my coaches, and my mastering your mindset is a whole other thing, but it kind of goes hand in hand with this call, that the amount of personal growth you go through equals the amount of success in your business. Because a lot of people will be like, I've been doing this for a year. Why isn't it happening for me? And I find that there's so many cobwebs that we still have to get through until we're even ready to start really becoming a CEO. So too many people give up at the 6-month, year. I mean, I have no idea when people decide to give up. It's their choice. But there's so many cobwebs that you're going to have to go through, that I've been through, that I still go through, that Stephanie goes through, that you're going to have to figure out. So the quicker that you can go through those quote unquote growing pains on the life side, on the business side, the quicker that you can become the CEO. Because when you make that decision to own a business, it's kind of like game on. There's no oh, but I'm scared to make that post, or I don't really think Success Club's important, or I don't really want to do my workout today. All of those things are non-negotiable once you're actually the CEO. So when I started this business, like I said, I became obsessed with, okay, what do successful people do? And I started to realize that the way I was thinking was not going to get me to where I wanted to go. So I had to be willing to take what I was thinking and feeding myself and believing. I had to kind of throw all that out the window. Because for most of our lives, we're trained to be an employee, right? It's not a bad thing. We're just kind of trained to, you show up at 4 p.m. and you clock out at 12 midnight, and you get paid X amount of dollars. And your job wants you to stay in this little box. And if you go outside this box, you get written up and you get in trouble, right? In this job, as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, you're outside the box. There's no boundaries, and we're like, what's going on? We're pretty much flailing around, and I think that's the uncertainty, the unknown that most people are uncomfortable with. So I've started to teach my team, and honestly, even just people I come across in my life, that you have to be, I don't know if that was me or someone else. Sorry.
Hey guys, if you have any background noise jumping on, just make sure you mute yourself as soon as you jump on. I think I got it. Sorry.
Go ahead. It's okay. I have squirrel brain. I'm like, oh, what was that? I was talking about employee to entrepreneur. Okay, so I want you guys to picture when you sign up as a new coach, and I bet you can all agree with me. It's kind of, let's say Stephanie's your upline, okay? We give you the GSR, the getting started right process. We give you this is what you should focus on. But it still kind of feels like when you sign up, you're put in a dark room and the lights are off. And you're like, what is happening? I don't know. And that is the uncomfortable, uncertainty, unknown area that a lot of people don't like. So I want you to, if you're in this black room and there's no lights on, I want you to flail around a little bit. If you flail around enough and stand up, you eventually will find a light switch and go, oh, I get it. And you're okay. You made it. Okay? You're going to have that moment in your business where you realize that stumbling around and flailing around as an entrepreneur is part of the process. It's those growing pains. So you're going to have to learn how to handle things differently. I always teach my team that the way you respond to things, you have to ask yourself, do you react? So if there's something happening in your business and you are not in control of it, are you reacting or are you responding with a solution? So I'm kind of like this crazy researcher, master your mindset geek, because I know I can tell a coach how to hit Success Club all day long. Why doesn't everyone do it then, right? It's like, you know how. So it's typically a fear, mindset, doubt, self-belief thing. So I focus on personal development and I focus on taking action with my coaches right away. I teach them to handle situations different. When a coach says, I don't know what to say, I'm like, you won't break it. It's going to be okay. Just flail around in that dark room until you find the light switch. So when you have a fear or a struggle, when there's tragedy in life, when the unknown happens in your life, when you have frustration, how many of us go, oh, why is this happening? I don't want this to happen. I don't have time for this, right? I hope you all raise your hand right now. Everyone always says that, or they feel that. I want you to look at a fear, a struggle, an obstacle, and a challenge as an opportunity. When the universe is putting the craziest thing in your lap, I want you to go, what can I do to learn from this situation? And I think a lot of people tend to play the victim role. I was that person. I have successfully trained my brain, and can I just be honest? I don't want to say life is easy because it's not, but life is a little bit more colorful and easier when I look at every struggle and challenge and even tragedy, we'll talk about that today, as an opportunity. So the difference between a coach would be, oh, why is this happening to me? And in this business, when life gets crazy, your kids are growing wild, there's family stuff going on, tragedy, Stephanie and I have had crazy things happen in the last year. And it knocks the wind out of you at times. But because we've been able to be CEOs, we know that our job is actually to serve others. So a Beachbody coach tends to post on social media. And guys, don't get me wrong, I'm a Beachbody coach too, but I'm also a CEO. You can do both things, okay? So I want to teach you guys how to master the CEO part. A Beachbody coach is I did my workout today, I drank my shake today, but I got a little busy, so I wasn't able to check into my challenge group. A CEO, I wake up, Stephanie wakes up every single day here to serve others. So it's not really about necessarily what you desire when you are at that high level of leadership. It's, okay, I'm having a rough day today, and today, this week's been crazy. Life was punching me in the face this week, and I had to say, what can I control? I have to go serve. I've got to show up for my team, and that's how you become a CEO, when you can build up that discipline to know that our job, we're life transformers. I am not just selling you some cell phone or wine or makeup. And guys, if you see my vanity over here, I love me some makeup. I could sell makeup all day. But I know that's not really going to change people's lives. This business is difficult. And the reason why we don't have 2 million Beachbody coaches is because it's the hardest work we will ever do on ourselves. And people shut down when they realize that this is real. These cobwebs are sticking to me and they're not coming off. And they kind of shut down. But when you wake up every day thinking of how can I help people? How can I help people feel better, think better, look better, do more, your life will start to change. I want you guys to think of the example of when you give someone a birthday gift, who's more excited? You giving the gift or the person getting it? You're like, oh, open it. This is going to be the best present ever, right? Giving feels so good. So don't let the word CEO be all icky and, sometimes when I still think of the word CEO, I think of a guy at the top of a tower in a blue suit. Being a CEO in our world, in our business, is really about waking up, dedicating your life to serving others. The rest happens. So when you are thinking about your business, you wear two hats. You'll be a Beachbody coach sometimes. You'll have, your challenge groups, and you're posting about why you love your shakes, and you're doing your live videos about your food for the day. Like, of course, but you've got to be able to toss that hat of, okay, today I need to be a CEO. Today life is punching me in the face. I feel like I'm on the floor and I'm not winning, but I will control the controllable. I will find opportunity in this struggle. And I'll share, a little bit. I don't think at this point in time when I did the Mastering Your Mindset, my husband's had cancer twice, and it's been crazy. I think my first call, he had it the first time and we thought it was gone. And then it came back December 2015, and it was like, I sit here on team calls telling people that life's going to throw you a punch. How do you handle it? And I remember that falling in my lap again. Like, the C word is so ugly, right? And I was like, oh my God, I have to eat my medicine right now. I have to find opportunity. I have to be a CEO. How can I serve? And I finally realized that going through that struggle was my opportunity to tell people and show people they can do hard things. I shared my journey. I inspired my team. And guess what? I stayed on track. When you remove Beachbody from your life because it's a quote unquote stressor, or you don't have the time, you're removing the chance to grow and heal and be surrounded by awesomeness. Never forget that as the CEO of your own business. Taking time off from Beachbody, like if I stopped doing my workout, if I stopped showing up in my challenge group, stopped doing PD, I have no idea where I would be today. This opportunity gives, and that's why you have to serve it to other people. So I wrote all these awesome notes for you guys. I wanted to make sure I cover everything. So as a CEO, I think the biggest thing is decisions. So every day you have choices to make. And sometimes we lose sight of the power of our own choice. So I'll use the example of your confidence account. A lot of people are like, but I don't really feel like a CEO, or I don't know how to be one, or my self-doubt, my confidence, the fears, whatever the reason is, right? Whatever's holding them back, whatever those self-limitations are, I always tell people that you have the ability to empower yourself through your decisions. When you do your workout, you add to your confidence account. When I don't do my workout, I kind of feel like crap, and I subtract from my confidence account. So there you go. When people are like, how do you do it? I say I make really good decisions every single day that add to my confidence account. My golden rule by the end of the day is, you bet your butt that there's no way I get everything done. But when my head hits the pillow, I ask myself, did I do everything I could to be badass and serve others today? And if my answer is yes, I go to bed really happy. If my answer is no, I wake up tomorrow and I know I can do better. It all comes down to your decisions. Guys, if you buy the Oreos, guess who's eating the Oreos? You are, okay? It's not rocket science, but it's down to these simple habits of decisions. So that you do have the ability to create habits that create success. And as Tony Robbins says, progress equals happiness. When you're changing your life and moving forward, you feel so damn good, and you don't want to do anything else. I think that's why Beachbody coaches are these crazy Beachbody coaches, because we are morphing our body. It's crazy to me, like when someone has, 100-pound weight loss, I'm like, we do the coolest jobs in the world. People morphing their body. You're changing your mindset. This is one of the only jobs that I've come across where you can change your life mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially. Typically, jobs take away if you make a lot of money, you're not healthy. Typically, or phone call. Let me turn this on silence. So typically, a job tears apart relationships. This opportunity has taught me so much about my relationships. It's taught me that, I'm going to have to do a little bit more work. Maybe I should read this personal development book and yada, yada, So there's a difference between coaches and CEOs. And when you sit there and you write it out, when you think of the successful coaches and when you think of a newer coach, it really boils down to what their expectations are of this business, how hard it's going to be, what your work ethic is, and the decisions that you make. I don't know why that was so difficult to spit out. But this journey is going to test you in ways that will almost feel like you're failing. I want you to remember that. There's gonna be moments and times where you're like, oh, I'm not really sure. I feel a little in the dark right now. Remember that dark room I told you about? That's a good feeling, because that means that something monumental is about to happen. You're gonna learn. And when you get through the struggle, guess what? You're able to teach someone else who joins your team someday, hey, I got you, girl. I've been there. I know for me that when I had to pack up my things and move in with my in-laws and watch my husband go through chemo for 9 weeks, I think it was harder on me than it was for him. During Christmas time, during elite qualifications, I had to be my own cheerleader. I had to be the CEO of my own business still. But I had to tell myself that if I can get through this, when someone else needs a shoulder to lean on, and when they need someone else to pick them up, I can say, I've been there. So do you see the opportunity in the struggle? Because if it was all rainbows, butterflies, unicorn, and glitter, when your coach has a struggle, you would have no idea how to handle it. And that's not a good thing. You want to be able to relate to them. Just like our challengers, right? That's why we have to be a product of the product first. So I've been using this really funny example. I'm like a very visual example person. And it was perfect timing for Core de Force when it came out. So you want to be the CEO, right? You're like, I want to master my life. I don't want to feel like everything is a struggle. I don't want to feel like life is sucking the energy out of me. So here's what I want you to do. Picture a fighting ring, like an actual boxing ring, okay? And it's you against life. And at this event, people paid money for the tickets in the audience. Your family's there, your Facebook audience, everyone is watching. And as life is punching you in the face, knocking your teeth out, bloody nose, would you lay there in the middle of the fighting round and just be like, I'm done, I can't? You would get back up and you would jab back. So when Core de Force came out, I had this theme with my team that you've got to fight. I know it. This is why I share my struggles publicly. Everyone knows everything about my life, because I want them to see that I'm fighting back too. And it gives others strength to realize that they can do it too. So being the CEO, you've got a show to put on, right? You can't just not do something because you don't want to. That's the difference between a coach and a CEO. Showing up, going through the growing pains, feeling it, and then when someone else goes through that struggle, you're able to help them fight back. I remember when Steph made a post, I think it was in the wall, she showed the graphic of everything she went through in her life and all of her success club points. And I was like, girl, I so can relate to you. And I bet a lot of people are like, but how did you do it, Stephanie? And I guarantee her answer was, I just did it. I showed up and I fought back. It was the hardest work I've ever done. And sometimes I look back, I'm sure she does too, and you're like, wait, I don't know how I actually did that. But when you train your brain, you know and believe that you can do it, and you've got to be your biggest cheerleader. Don't expect your husband to give you the high five every 5 seconds. You have to be your biggest cheerleader, because all of us right now, we're in an office by ourselves, right? There's no one over our shoulder telling us what to do. Building up that discipline is so important. Okay, so people are on your journey, they're going to quit. They're going to question. They're going to give up because of the unknown. So many people are used to, again, showing up, being that employee, getting that paycheck, being like, okay, did my work, going to go home, hang out on the couch. This business is kind of, I don't want to say never ending because that doesn't make it sound good at all, but it's part of our life. It's not that Beachbody is my life. Carly Del Carlo said this, Beachbody gives me life. So even when I get off this computer, I'm thinking about my workout or my team. I do my best to disconnect, but I love this business so much that I always feel like I'm involved with it, right? But when the unknown happens, it's okay. I want to talk about failure for a second, because sometimes people go, well, I'm afraid to try, or I'm afraid to do this because what if I fail? And I have really awesome news that you can never fail or mess up at this unless you quit or don't take action. That is really the only way you can fail. So that little cop-out doesn't work anymore in that story, does it? I'm afraid to fail, so I'm just not going to do jack nothing. It doesn't work like that. If you are willing to take one foot in front of the other, fight back, and show up, you don't think that in a year your life will be better. People are so worried about, but what if in a year I'm not at my goal? Well, what if for 5 years you worked out, did PD, got to Beachbody events, got on team calls, got out of your comfort zone? You don't think your life would be better in 5 years? We've got 70 years left on this planet, and you guys are worried about 1, 2, 3, 4 years, right? I want you to be masters and CEOs of your life. Got to be willing to fight for it. So in every challenge, you have the opportunity to show the universe that you want it. How many times have you said, I'm all in, I want it, nothing is going to get in my way, watch out. And then tragedy happens, and then life happens, and I will guarantee you that life isn't going to stop throwing punches because life is crazy. And so the universe will test you. And when you show up and actually tell the universe, like, you know what? This is the worst test right now, and I really don't want to deal with this right now, but I get it. I told you I wanted it. I've got to show up. Because in our business, it's really what we're showing others how to do. They think they're too busy to work out. They think they're too busy to meal prep. They think they're too busy to actually like run a Beachbody business. We have to be able to show them and, prove the universe wrong. Okay, we have 9 minutes left, so I'm going to say one more thing, and then you guys can ask me questions.
Okay, it should not say that. So I'm like, wow, that looks really ghetto, but keep going.
Okay. I was like, okay, what else should I say? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about training your brain, because people are like, so how do I do that? To me, it's a light switch. There's this decision and discipline thing that happens. And it starts with the example of Olympian athletes. So I was a gymnast growing up. And now, do you guys watch the Olympics? And everyone watches gymnastics, right? Because they're just so amazing. And I know what it takes for those, they're not even like women, they're young ladies, those young ladies to twirl their bodies like that. And I know how much dedication and commitment it takes to do what they do. And it still, to me, is like doing the unthinkable. They're like perfect, right? So I know that when they wake up in the morning, they don't act like a slug. When they wake up in the morning, they're training their brain to be disciplined, and they are like, dude, you're a freaking Olympian athlete. You've got to get to it. They've built up that discipline when they're practicing with their coach. And think of your coach-mentor relationship in Beachbody when I'm saying this. When you're on the balance beam or when you're on the floor and you make a mistake or your turn wasn't complete or you fall off the balance beam, your coach is going to say, you know what, Stephanie, you fell off the balance beam, but get back up, do it again. Get back up, do it again. That is how greatness comes about. It's not just like, well, I fell off the balance beam, so now I'm kind of doubtful, and I'm not sure if I can get back up and do it again. You have to train your brain of, I know what an Olympian does, so that's what I'm going to do. So to me, I think it's easier said than done because I've worked on it for so long, and I'm pretty hard on myself because I really want greatness in my life, but more importantly, I want to prove to people that they can do it. I want to prove to people that, like, I get it. You're a busy mom of four kids. Here you go, Steph. Woohoo! Save the day. You're a busy mom of 4 kids, but guess what? There are other busy moms with 4 kids out there that can do it. A CEO realizes the possibility and goes, okay, I can do it too. And most of you are like, but how? It starts with when you wake up tomorrow morning, I want you to be self-aware. I want you to be self-aware of the schedule you've created for yourself for tomorrow. You cannot do everything, but you can do anything. So tomorrow you're going to be your biggest cheerleader. You're going to be rooting yourself on, and it's going to be a happy day, even when struggle comes your way. When the kids are driving you crazy, when you want to punch your boss in the face, you're going to handle it with more grace than you normally do, because that's how we do. So that's how people do the unthinkable, right? They basically become an Olympian of their life. And I think the gymnasts are the best example. So I want to talk a little bit about PD, because I think that, our expectation is 10 measly minutes of PD. And the people who do 10 minutes of measly PD and hide behind a book all day, they kind of just stay behind that book all day. So you've got to read. I suggest listening to things as well, because there's something about that human connection, the energy that comes team calls. I'm sure you guys all get off the calls all pumped up. When you get off our national wake-up calls, everyone's jazzed up. The motivation is great. But you have to be able to take your motivation and apply it. So you have to read a me book, which is like you are a badass, the things that fill your happy cup, that are rainbows and butterflies and makes life feel awesome. Then you have to read business books. You have to read things like GoPro, the 10X rule. I love 6 months to 6 figures. Ignore the title, just read the book. It's awesome. Then here's like the whole point of why I'm talking about this. The third type of personal development, experience. It's not a book. I'll always get messages after. People think, they're like, what's this experience book? I'm like, no, experience is the third type of personal development. As coaches, it's really easy to hide behind your computer and talk the talk, but you've got to be able to walk the walk too. So here's my challenge. If you guys go to Super Saturdays, awesome. I hope everyone gets to them. How awesome are those events, right? When you get to Summit. I want you guys to reach out to your market council, the people who put on the event, and be like, hey, what can I do to help host the event? Can I share my story? Can I check people in at the door? The most powerful thing is human connection. If you've never met Steph before, let's say she's your upline and you sign up with her and you meet her at Summit, when you hug her, you're like, this is real and it feels so awesome. Experience will teach you more about life than ever. I remember being a new coach, broke as a joke, and this is so not Dave Ramsey friendly, but hey, this is what I did. I threw whatever I had to on my credit card to get to events. Where I live in the boonies. We're trying to run Super Saturdays. They're pretty small. I needed energy and human connection. I booked a trip down to SoCal and I got to the big events. And because of that experience, I still remember I had to pull an all-nighter to get there because I used to work till 4 a.m. I had to pull an all-nighter to get there. And all that hustle and hard work and putting it on my credit card was so worth it. So don't hide behind your computer. Don't hide behind your little book. You have to be willing to show up, fight for it, go through those fears so that you can inspire other people and help them take action in their life. So I want to talk back to how I was talking about like serving others and things like that, because I think it's so important for us to kind of know our mission statement. So I've really pushed my team to think about this. And the day you sign up, it's going to be so different than, 2-3 years from now. But what is it that you really want to help people accomplish, excuse me, in their life? What is it that when you wake up in the morning, you're like, I want to help someone do XYZ today? Yes, you want to help them lose weight, feel good, eat healthy. Like that's a Beachbody coach. We all do that. There's no one who doesn't do that in this business. But what makes you stand out from the rest? Like I found my passion for helping the person on the plane next to me feel like they're going to have an awesome day. And I try to add a little color to their day. And then I let them know that if they ever need help with mastering something in their life, and if they want to feel good, if they want to do more in their life, let me know. I'd love to help. Because I think everything starts with health and fitness. I don't care what job you do, what kind of lives you change. If you wake up feeling like crap every day, that's not fun. So I want to help people feel good. And then the second half of my mission statement is helping people actually achieve anything that they've thought of in the whole wide world, becoming unstoppable. I feel now, because of all the struggles and crazy things I've been through, that the universe could throw me anything and I'm like, bring it on. I got it. But not because I want to feel like a badass, because I want to help other people realize like, okay, my life is crazy too. It's just as crazy as hers. And she's able to handle it. That means I can too. Do you guys see the difference there of waking up feeling dedicated to your audience? That's why I love social media. Every day I want to give. Every day I want to leave an impression on someone's heart. I want my little name and my little face of my profile picture. I want that person after they read my post to be like, you know what? If I ever need anything, I'm going to reach out to Colleen. When you're talking to people, by the end of your conversation with them, they should be like, damn, that Beachbody coach is awesome. I need them to be my coach. I don't want to talk to anyone else. So don't worry so much about like, what if I say the wrong thing? Think about that person, serve them, show up every day, be honest with them, show your struggles on social media. And I feel like it just all comes together. So I'm out of breath. That is kind of my talk on mastering, or not mastering your mindset, going from coach to CEO. It's really about building up that, I always use the word grit, to be able to get over your fears and struggles, see it as opportunity so that you can inspire and serve others to do the same. That's the big difference between Beachbody coaches and the CEOs in this business.
That was so good, Colleen. I mean, I hope you guys were taking notes because I couldn't stop. I feel like there was so much I missed. I need to watch the recording already. Oh my gosh, I have so many takeaways. First of all, while I'm rambling and probably going on random tangents, you guys, if you have questions, put them over in the chat box. I don't know how much time Colleen has, but
I have whatever you guys need.
Okay, so if you have questions or comments or anything you want her to expand on, just feel free to put a question or comment over in the chat. Colleen said that was amazing. Thank you, Colleen. So much resonated with me. My coaches know that I've been kind of on a journey these past few months with where did I write it? Self-awareness. So I love that you talked about that because that was a huge thing. Like you mentioned, we both have had really tough past years. And I think it does take a lot of time and processing to move through that. But in that, I feel like there was so much opportunity to look at myself kind of from an outsider perspective and be like, how can I improve on this? Okay, I've been through that. I grew through that, still growing through that. Now, what are my struggles and my limitations and how can I level up and be better? And one of those things for me is, you guys probably know this about me if you're on my team, organization, and just, I'm kind of like a fly by the seat of my pants, let's have a team call tonight, that kind of thing. That doesn't work for everybody. So how can I be better and raise my level of standards so that I can improve in that area and be a little bit more organized and a little bit more disciplined and follow my calendar and what's on the calendar. So personal development, first thing in the morning, getting that power hour done while I'm in the moment, creating that space for routine. Because like Colleen said, 4 kids, I'm about to have my 4th. So if you guys are busy parents, busy working professionals, just busy in general, you can probably relate to that too. You have to really honor the fact that you're not going to have a boss hovering over your shoulder. So it's sort of a double-edged sword being the CEO, right? I'm in control so I can do whatever I want, but I need to get it all done. So you have to just figure out a way that that's going to really work into your life. Did anybody else have any takeaways, questions, anything like that?
And I have so much content in front of me, but I got distracted with the timer thing, and I was like, okay, I'll leave time for questions, and I literally could talk on this for 2 hours. So
it's such a good topic.
I meant to say, I love questions, and I almost require them at the end because then I feel like a deer in the headlights if no one's asking questions. So I don't even care what they're about. Just ask me something.
Yes, please, you guys, don't be shy. Oh, there's a good one. Top books for changing your mindset. I'm so glad you asked that, Sarah, because I saw your comment up above, and I was going to ask you what you're doing for personal development. So I'm glad you asked that.
And I think that this is the magic question, right? So there are so many books. I have a whole area of books over here. Some of them are half read because I'll be honest, I'm not going to force myself to read this book just to be disciplined and read PD if it's not speaking to me. Right. So I have purchased a lot of books and read half of them. And then I've read other books 3 times because I love them. So I just want to say that because sometimes it does take, it's like dating, right? You have to kind of go through until you're like, yes, this is the one. So everyone's read You Are a Badass. So I feel like I'm not going to say that one anymore, but that was back in the day. That was when all of this started for me. It was when I had the moment of, I have to share this with everyone. It changed my life. So that was the first book. The Magic of Thinking Big is really a great one by David Schwartz. I'll give you a couple more because I have a couple more. Thinking for a Change by John C. Maxwell. A little bit more dry because he's John C. Maxwell, but I really like that one. I read that way back. And if you guys are ready to receive a message that is really important to get down, be self-aware, be honest with yourself, spiritual. I don't mean it has to be all religious, but Gabby Bernstein, I'm sure a lot of you follow her, but that has been my jam this year. I am reading her book so slow because I never want it to end. I'm like, please don't end. But The Universe Has Your Back and Spirit Junkie if like I recommend it to some of my coaches and they're like, you know, I don't think I'm ready for this yet because it's pretty heavy. It's pretty deep. Like she's going in. So, but those are some of my other favorite ones. I'll share a couple as far as mastering your business mindset, because I think that those are important too. When I went through the second cancer round with my husband and when I moved in with my in-laws, you guys won't even believe this, but on January 1st, my grandmother passed away. So like 2 weeks into this, I had to fly across country and I'm in the airport like, universe, like, can I breathe for a second, please? Just like, give me a sign that it's going to be all good, right? I talk to the universe all the time. And I'm in the bookstore, like looking for PD, and the 10X rule popped up. That book was so instrumental for my business during that time because it taught me what I could control, because I felt so out of control that it reminded me that put in the focus on the efforts, the results will come. The book spoke to me so much that I actually made an academy for my coaches on how to utilize the 10X rule and apply it to the coaching business. Because oftentimes a coach will be like, well, I tried that. You got to try 10 more times before you're going to get something. It's kind of that flailing around aspect. So the 10X rule for your business mindset. And why am I blanking on the other one? No Excuses by Brian Tracy. That one explains itself.
Yeah, those are all so good. I'm like writing down books that I haven't read yet. I haven't read 10X rule yet. I love that. And you guys know I'm reading the 12-week year. I couldn't even remember the name of it for a second. Next up for me will be Miracle Morning, because I think it'll really just tie everything in. But
I saw another question in there, I think.
Yeah, there's a couple that came in. Yeah, don't do meditation while you're driving. That's dangerous, you guys.
That's not possible anyway.
Top tip for a newbie coach who has dabbled in other areas of fitness previously. I don't want people and family on Facebook to think of me as salesy or someone who is always trying something new. Oh my gosh, that sounds like me, but maybe you can cover that, Colleen, and then I'll go for it too.
Yeah. So this is where you just have to be really vulnerable and say, you know what? I've tried a million things. I know I'm that person who has said it all, tried it all. And then this is where your vulnerability becomes your accountability. Because if you were to say, and I hope for you that you would do this, you know, I'm the person who tries it all, but this time I'm going to show you it's going to be different. Why? Tell them the what, tell them the how, tell them the why, and tell them that your social media is going to become your accountability blog. You're every single day going to check in. It doesn't have to be like, drank my shake, did my workout. Check in your feelings. Tell them how you're doing. You missed a workout today, you got to tell them. Public accountability, I remember being a new coach being like, I have to have a before and after. I don't even care what the results are like, but I got to show something, right? So that pushed me because I was publicly announcing, I'm on week 1 of this, can't wait to show you week 2. Whether or not you're sharing pictures, there's something about you holding yourself to being vulnerable and accountable. So that's what I always suggest to my new coaches. If you really, really want it to show up for that test, you'll do great things.
Yes, similar advice, Julianne, and we'll talk more about this, but it was kind of similar for me. Like we've talked about this. I dabbled. I did Stella and Dot. I had an Etsy shop. Oh, you guys will like burn me at the stake for this, but Matt, it was all Matt. One of our friends talked him into signing up while I was pregnant with Quinn for Visalis. So we had those shakes in our possession. And I like posted about it or whatever. I'm not proud of it. But so by the time Beachbody came into my life, it was like I was projecting my own insecurities, obviously. But I felt like I could feel the eye rolls, you know what I mean? But it was just like what Colleen suggested, was just kind of showing up and being like, hey, you know, you guys have seen me do lots of different things. You've seen me through lots of different weight transformations because I just had 3 kids back to back. So maybe be honest about, you know, where you're at personally in your journey. And then it was just sort of this is what I'm doing now. I'm really excited about it. If anybody else is excited about this and maybe wants to do something like this too, I'm going to open up a free private accountability group where we can all sort of be together and get started. And that sort of became like my first challenge group, even though nobody was like a customer yet, but my customers started coming from that group. So it was sort of a way for me to build trust and accountability with people. And it held me, like, I was like, I got to show up for my group, you know, it was exciting. So that was my first like baby step into running challenge groups and coaching people and things like that. So, but yeah, I mean, I always think that honesty is just the best policy with everything. We're all sharing our journeys. When you're struggling, let people know you're struggling. They want to hear that kind of thing too. They don't want to have these perfect coaches walking around like they have everything figured out and they're perfect with their diet and they work out every single day. Like, people want to know that you're sort of imperfect and that you fall down, you go through, you know, ebbs and flows in your personal life and your business life, and how you're working through it. Like, here's what I'm going to do to work through this. So I hope that helps. You're going to
stay consistent too. Yes. Sorry.
No, yeah. It's just, yes, doing it over and over and over, that consistency. And that's what's going to build trust with people for sure. So, oh, you guys have some really good ones. We'll take a couple more because I don't want to keep calling all night, but I get how you lead by example on social media, but how do you more specifically help people who are already in your groups when they struggle to follow through with things? Any more specific steps beyond leading by an example?
I'll assume you mean like challenge groups, right? Not like coach groups.
That's what I'm kind of guessing too.
Okay. So it's kind of funny. My journey with challenge groups was so different. So, okay, challenge groups. Back in the day when we had like 60-day programs and I ran 60-day challenge groups, this was like way before 21 Day Fix. My challenge groups were great. And then in the middle of my coach career, like month 18 to 25 was really bad challenge groups. I personally was not creating anything that was really like having people show up in my challenge groups. And it's never been a strength for me. So I did have to spend some time. It's actually something I started this holiday season. I'm like, all right, because when after leadership, it was about get people results in their health, fitness, and just life in general. And so I wanted to go back to how can I make people feel awesome? So 2 things to kind of say, because my answers are always like 20 hours long. I started to kind of set expectations with my challengers, not like being their boss, but just like, you know, hey, Stephanie, thank you so much. I just want to tell you, you know, thanks for joining my challenge group. I want to tell you what gets the best results. So you can either pin this to the top of your challenge group or you can send them a message. But what I find is tell me how you want me to hold you accountable. Like, is it a weekly check-in? Don't say daily check-in because then you're managing them. Is it a weekly check-in? Do you want me to hold you to it in the challenge group? Like, what do you think is going to work so that I know you're showing up? I kind of put the ownership ball in their court. And I tell them that my challenge group and your daily check-in is how you're going to get results. This is at-home fitness, so I'm not there with you, but I want to work with you. So do me a favor, do a check-in every day. And I started to do challenges. So for example, on Monday, I would have them post a selfie with them drinking water, like trying new fruit in their water. I'm like, show us what type of new fruit you added to your water today. On Tuesday, I would do a fun trivia of like, what food has more calories? Candy corn, soda, piece of cake. You know, I Googled things and I kept it super simple. I probably spent 30 minutes doing this. And I just kind of started to give them something different rather than an accountability check-in. And I'm giving away a tub of performance and a t-shirt at the end. Like, not breaking my bank personally, but you could get like little TJ Maxx planners as giveaways. But I think it's just having that honest expectation with them of how this can help them if they do the work. And don't worry, there's going to be people who fall off all the time. We can't save all the people as much as we want to, but as long as you're doing your best and having that conversation with them, that might help.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Hopefully Julianne can attest to this, but she just came from, I introduced her early. She's one of my brand new coaches who just signed up last night. I'm totally putting her in the hot seat, but she's on her first Zoom and she came from my challenge group. And I think it's been an amazing challenge group. One of the things that I had as a tip from another coach friend was to implement like one-on-one call opportunities with people. I only had a few. Julianne was one, but I only had a few people who took me up on it because some people are like, no, I'm good, you know, like, or maybe they'll send me a text, but it was like kind of here's my phone number. If a text message is easier, then that's cool. But you guys also using that tracker app, like game changer for sure. Everything used to be through Facebook, and I know that's still what a lot of coaches are doing, and that's cool, but be open to learning a new system through that tracker app, because it's so nice for challengers to be able to track their own progress. And it kind of, with those push notifications, it tells me like, hey, you haven't checked in yet today. And I'm like, oh crap, my challenge group, you know what I mean? So it really does take it to that next level accountability wise, even for the coach. So yeah, just switch it up if things are feeling kind of stagnant. I feel like that's when things get boring for my challenge groups too, is when there's not anything to pull them back to that group.
I think it's like that creativity piece for sure. There's definitely another question in there that I think I should answer. The question about sharing without letting your job.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw that today, Colleen, but I think it's Amber Snow and a girl in my downline, Jillian Kaplan, who's going to be putting on a webinar for coaches who like don't really intend to ever be a full-time coach. Like they like their job, or they're not ever going to really leave their job. So if you guys are interested in that, we can get that call info. I know that's always a tricky one. You know, how do I share this business without making it seem like to my employees or, you know, my coworkers at my job that I'm going to eventually quit my job or something like that. So that's never been a personal struggle for me because I was a stay-at-home mom. I don't know if you've dealt with that, Colleen.
So I think sometimes a lot of people, even coaches, associate like Beachbody coaching, financial freedom with like, I'm going to quit my job and never have a boss. Like that doesn't have to be your brand. Yeah. You know, we have ER doctors, we have NYPD officers, like they're probably not going to quit that profession unless they want to. That do Beachbody. You can bleed Beachbody blue, and you know, even if you hate your job, you don't have to be like, oh, I can't wait to quit my job. Your social media doesn't need to be about that. But I would assume like your audience is going to understand that you don't want to do what you do forever. So you can just talk about like how you're doing this because down the road, it'll offer supplemental income for you. Down the road, it's gonna offer you the opportunity to take your family on a vacation. I don't know if you have family, but you know, just like it allows you to do more. It doesn't have to be everything. I think that is such a beautiful story to share, because there's going to be other people out there like you who want it for the more aspect, not the everything aspect. I don't even know if that helps.
Yes. No, that's so true. And like, I am not always the best at this, but like really speaking to all different types of interest groups. Like, I've heard from so many coaches who are like, oh, when I heard about, you know, the Success Club trip to Punta Cana, I was all in, like I was going to earn that trip. Where to me, I wasn't so much driven by the trip. So it was more like the financial aspect, like I needed this to work for my family. But for somebody else who's maybe got it going on financially or whatever with their job, and they're really content and they're happy, but they don't have the opportunity to travel, you know, that's maybe not in their budget, you can earn a free trip. So, you know, kind of figuring out how to speak to those different interest groups, I think would be really good. And then Jordy, I know you had a question up above that I really wanted to answer.
Oh, sorry, did I miss one?
No, okay. I told her that I was going to circle back to it. And if you guys have to go, feel free, but I love that everyone's kind of sticking around for the Q&A stuff. You mentioned that there will be times in this business where you feel like you're failing, and maybe you already answered this and I missed it. But what are your top tips for getting through those times? I feel like right now, and my immediate response is to step back, but I know that's the worst thing to do. Yes, it happens all the time, and it's going to happen more. It's going to happen to me more. It's going to happen to Colleen more. Everybody on this call, you're going to go through phases where you're like, why is it so hard to get somebody to commit to a challenge pack right now? Why are 5 of my coaches quitting all at one time? And you can really internalize that and make it can feel like a really personal thing. And I think, again, I definitely come back to the personal development aspect. Like, am I responding to this or am I reacting to this? I loved that you said that, Colleen. But definitely something that Colleen said as well really resonated with me was that progress equals happiness. And you guys know about, you know, this past year for me, lots of loss in our family. And I worried about coming back to the business because I felt maybe like I would be judged that I was being too happy too soon or something like that. But to me, getting lost in this business and helping to serve others and finding the fun in all of this was therapy. And so using maybe that really down time in your business or that time when you're feeling like a failure to just get lost in the basics again. So for me, I had to like reset the clock, be a challenger again, like run a challenge group, just like find the things that were going to make me happy, forget about the stuff that was making me sad and making me feel like a failure, but get lost in that progress. And when you start progressing, even though maybe you've lost a couple coaches that month or whatever is happening, you're focused on the progress. And no matter what, nobody can take that from you. You know what I mean? Your progress is your own. So I don't know if you have more to add in that, Colleen.
Yeah. And I'm kind of like a straightforward kind of coach, and I don't even like to use the word tough love. I'm just honest because I haven't been through it all. But in that moment of what you're talking about, like you have to ask yourself, is taking a step back going to make it better? No. But if you focus on your efforts, you know that in 6 months, because it's a roller coaster ride, right? When you sign up, you're like, this is the coolest thing ever. You get to the top and you're like, oh my God, what did I do? And then right now you're going down. But now I want you to celebrate the opportunity. That's what we talked about today, right? The struggle of now the roller coaster ride is going to come back up. But most people don't stick around. At this point, they just fall off. So you have to know that on the roller coaster, the ups are ups and the downs are downs, but you have to be that force of fighting back to get you to back up. So that when you're up and people go, how did you do that? You can say, this is how I did it. You only have one choice. Keep going. Never give up is truly something in this business that you have to be like, well, what's my other option? If you have another job, that could be your option. I didn't. I had to give myself that opportunity to go back on the up. And when you build up that discipline, you can truck through anything.
Yep, 100%. The what is it? The breakthrough is always like right on the other side of the breakdown. And I always tell myself this. I'm like, this is a test. I know this. And I'm like, I put it out there. I'm like, okay, I got you. You're testing me right now, And so it's like, where's the lesson in this? How can I learn from this and be better so that when I get into that upswing, I'm like ready and even better than I was on the last upswing. So yeah, you got this, girl. Hey, Jordy, I've seen you come back and go hard, and it's just going to keep happening. So, and I know you want this, so you'll be fine. I know it. Okay, you guys, did I miss anything else? I think it was just kind of chat back and forth, which is awesome. I love when you guys support one another. Yeah, I think everybody can relate to that. It's just like, even as a challenger, like before I was a coach, I remember feeling like I'm not seeing what I want to be seeing on the scale, or, my clothes aren't fitting really well as fast as I want them to, and getting stuck in that failure. Or, well, what's my other option? Do I just give up on this, or do I keep pressing forward and trying again and realizing that, hey, this was a slower week. A lot of the stuff is happening on the inside. I can't even see the progress that's happening. And next week I'm going to see it all on the scale, So totally the same. And using those struggles for that reason too, so that you can pass that on and pay it forward to your challengers and your new coaches that come in and feel that way. I feel like that's the gift, and that's usually the lesson for us as we're, growing into leadership and stuff. So
can I say one more thing about it too, and then I'll let you guys go?
Yeah.
This business kind of has like a 90-day delay. So if you're in those first 30 days of trucking through the struggle, even day 60 or 75, maybe even day 91, there's no magic number, but the effort you put in 3 months ago will typically show up now. That's not a perfect science, but in that struggle, the work and the grind that you do now, the life-changing you do, will start to show up down the road. You'll get that message like, oh my God, girl, I've been watching you for like 2 years now, It will all start to come together, but just don't let off the gas, because it's really hard in that middle part, before the upswing. So just want to say that.
Definitely. Okay, you guys, this was so awesome, Colleen. We appreciate you so much, and I appreciate all of you guys for sticking around for an hour. I know nighttime is especially precious, especially on this TGIT when Grey's Anatomy is coming back on. I'm super pumped for my lineup tonight. But you guys, this was awesome. I will post the recording, if not tonight, tomorrow morning. Colleen, we love you.
Thanks for having me.
On our team page that you were amazing too. So, and they said you were beautiful also, which is obvious.
Thank you.
So, all right, you guys, make sure if you're not following or you're not friends with Colleen on social media that you follow her and you thank her. Post on her wall and blow her up so she knows how appreciative she was tonight. Okay, you guys, I'll let you go. Thanks again, Colleen.
Thank you, guys.